Hey!
Hi everybody,
what's
how's it going?
up? Cat and the Ant.
Here we are,
What's up?
going to be reviewing today, Jurassic World.
Going back all the way to 2015.
It's a good year for us.
Good year for us.
Nathan was born in 2015.
Did you like it? We're gonna talk about it.
We're going to talk about
Boom.
this movie. We're also going to enjoy some banh mi sandwiches. Anthony got a really strong baguette for our sandwiches today, so I had to cut them up in tiny pieces. So pardon us if it takes us a while to speak and chew at the same time.
But they're still really good.
And
Like
they're
we
tofu.
tried some out.
They're tofu banh mi.
They're really tasty. We really need to put the recipe into this one because this is so good. People are gonna want this.
Okay.
Anyways.
Starting off with a bite. Let's just make that happen. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
So good. You got the spicy in there, you got the sweet, savory. It's just so good. We used to go to Lee's Sandwiches when we lived in Southern California.
Great place when we were in college.
Great place. So good. We miss them out here. Do they have one?
They have one in Henderson, which is really nice, but it's like 25 minutes away, so we don't really get to frequent it.
They're more expensive, right?
Yeah. Like 75 cents to $1 more expensive for each banh mi, which is really different. So
I don't get it.
I don't know.
That's the reason we used to eat it so much in college, because it was so cheap. And this is not, so I don't know.
Anyways, so let's get back. Okay, I'm gonna let him shoot. I'm gonna start talking about Jurassic World, especially because our opinions about the movie differ. One of my favorite things about the movie is the use of color and surprise with color, especially when they're talking about Dromaeosaurus Rex and like, why is she white? There's whole thing with the color white, you know. Bryce comes out, Dallas Howard in a white dress. The lambs are white, you know, the animal is white. Like, what's up with all this like blank slate, like this untouchable, like everybody else is wearing colors and Bryce is like in this pure white, like very controlled. And then the Dromaeosaurus Rex is very controlled in what it's able to do and able to blend into everything. And I just really like the use of how everything is like really strong and controlled in the beginning with all this purity, and it's like really crisp white, and then it starts to get dingier and bloodier and more gross. And I just really think that's a cool concept that I didn't catch before. I've watched this movie a couple of times, and we rewatched it last night. And it's always great when you rewatch a movie when you're anticipating watching something new that's coming out and discovering things that you've never seen before or thought of before. And that was something that just popped into my mind last night while I was watching it.
That was great, because then you get sort of the connection between Bryce Dallas Howard's character and the Indominus, which are both very white, not socially adjusted very well. They sort of separate themselves from their siblings, both of them. The Indominus eats her sibling, and then and Bryce Dallas Howard doesn't connect well with her siblings or her nephews, and doesn't really understand relationships all that well. Sort of categorizes them. Obviously, with the date, you know, she has the itinerary that she prints out. But then you completely have the polar opposite with Chris Pratt and the Raptors. They're very colorful. He wears more colorful clothing. He's all about relationship and, you know,
dynamics.
Yeah, he says that he doesn't control the animals, it's about relationship. And he actually talks about that when he's talking about the one date that he had with Bryce Dallas Howard and how she was more controlling and he was more loose. So yeah, that's actually a really great sort of parallel that is drawn throughout the thing, which is funny for me because I had a lot of difficulty with the script in general, because as Dan Murrell from Honest Trailers and Screen Junkies would say, Jurassic World has a lot of examples of and then, like this happens and then that, as opposed to because storytelling, you know, this happened because
Like
this
cause and effect.
cause and effect sort of storytelling, as opposed to and then when I say, you know, we ate our sandwiches and then we drank some water and then we had dessert. Those things aren't related, you know, intrinsically. I'm just telling you stuff that I did in a particular order that may or may not make sense.
You know, Anthony actually told me last night they also made the comment that the Anonymous Rex is called a Plotosaurus.
Yeah, Dan calls it the Plotosaurus Rex.
Because it just helps continue further
The plot.
the plot.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't pull you from your heart. Like one of the more emotional moments is when the Brontosaurus dies. But yet if you felt closer to this Brontosaurus because maybe it was a Brontosaurus that helped the boys along when they're in the sphere, or is a Brontosaurus that one of the first Brontosaurus that we see, like the openings for the dinosaurs when we first see them are all fairly weak. I mean, we're so excited to see the raptors, and they get this really tight, cluttered shot coming in, and then you know Chris Pratt gets this awesome backlit. This director really liked backlit moments.
Yeah.
A lot.
A lot of backlit.
A lot of backlit
moments.
epic.
And it was weird because sometimes, like, I felt him trying to do some of the things that Spielberg would do, because Spielberg is known for not completely showing whatever animal or creature or monster that he has going on, you know, not for a very long time. You know, they're sort of, you hold back to show them, right? But it kind of translated weirdly because the Indominus would, like, they did sort of the same thing. They only showed, like, its eyes or a little bit of the side of it or whatever, and then before they showed it completely. But a lot of the times when they showed it after that, they'd only show like partial of it. So it only seemed like they were just doing weird framing. Like Chris Pratt would be running here and he'd be like, and he'd be like, what? Why am I only seeing the bottom half of the Indominus Rex's face?
And when you finally see the whole thing, it's like this forward shot, so you don't really get to appreciate the
you know, like...
And you know what? I'm going to say, I feel like this particular dinosaur lacked a lot of elegance. The other dinosaurs have a lot of elegance. And because of the spikes and because of its body type, because it was almost like a Stegosaurus, T-Rex, crocodile, like they were trying to do too much in one, which is a reflection of the fact that it's a designed dinosaur and not a natural dinosaur. And I know but I feel like they pushed the envelope too far.
Yeah.
I know, and when you do that, you lose a lot of the strength of one of your prime characters, because the Andromedus is supposed to be like a character, and they do really good at explaining that. Like Chris Pratt's lines about her being in that captivity and she doesn't know where she is in the food chain, she's going to figure this out, like that gives her personality, that gives her character, and you really care about that because you want to understand why she's going on killing sprees. Why she's killing just to kill, because no other dinosaur does that. And he says, he's like, you better, you know, that's not a dinosaur in there. You better figure out what it is that they made. Anyways, so there's just like a lot of the science and the history of the Jurassic series put into this movie, yet it's not given its great foundation to really push it through, to really carry you through it, you know? And
there's emphasis on the characters. Obviously there's emphasis on the characters, you know? But there's not a lot of subtlety in how they're portrayed, you know? You know that Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt, they had a relationship because, hey, we said we had a date, and let's talk about the one time we had a date, you know, as opposed to, I brought up once again, I'm going to mention Dan Murrell a bunch of times. He talks about how Dr. Grant and, you know, Dr. Sattler in Jurassic Park, they never really said that they were dating until very late into the film. You just knew it. They showed it by them being close all the time and having these conversations surrounding relationships, but they didn't actually say, you know, until Dr. Malcolm says, hey, you two are, and she's like, yeah. That's all that is said about the fact that they have a relationship.
That's mystery.
I'm not even sure that they really kiss, but you get it. They're connected, you know, they're a thing, and that's lovely, you know. And he also made the comparison between the fact that both the pairs of children in Jurassic Park and Jurassic World are children that have parents going through a divorce. But once again, in Jurassic World, you sort of hit over the head with it. You watch the parents in the divorce. They talk about how, you know, the two kids talk about how they're having a divorce. The parents in the very beginning, when they drop the kids off, you see that they're in a really bad, tumultuous relationship, you know, and they say, oh, this is our last breakfast together. And it's just like, I get it. You want to connect with a modern audience who, you know, as the older brother says, all my friends, parents are divorced. That's fine. That's totally cool. But a new perspective doesn't mean shoving it down your face. The fact that they have a new perspective on divorce doesn't mean you have to just tell us that they're having a divorce all the time. Like that's
But we
not
do agree
safe.
that Judy Greer was awesome. She was
Great.
such a great, solid
Judy Greer,
character.
the mom.
You know, the
Yeah.
mom. She was so phenomenal and just
Honest.
very comfortable in her role.
Yeah.
It was a simple role, but she was very comfortable in it, and you could just tell that she just really felt what she was going through.
Yeah,
You know,
and it's hard
caring for her
because,
kids.
you know, Bryce Dallas Howard, you know, she's supposed to be this person who is more antisocial, has less of an understanding of relationships and the heart in general. So, you know, they're trying to make her sister somebody who feels a lot and is comfortable with people and family members and relationships. But when you have Bryce Dallas Howard just being, you know, an ice queen the whole time, and her whole thing is like, I'm the ice queen, and yet you're supposed to spend the entire story caring about me as the lead character. It's like, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to care about you. You know, like, you just turn from somebody who makes a lot of bad decisions and gets a lot of people killed, and then all of a sudden she realizes, oh wait, my, you know, nephews are in the park. I better care about them. And we don't automatically care about her because she doesn't want her nephews to not be dead. You know, that's just not how caring about somebody works. Most people don't want their nephews to be dead. It doesn't make them good people. It doesn't make us care about their story, you know? We care a lot about Chris Pratt because he's somebody who you like. You know, I mean, in the story, she's kind of the bad guy. You know, put aside the
Vincent D'Onofrio as the
Vincent D'Onofrio.
D'Onofrio.
Yeah, the gentleman
Vincent
from
D'Onofrio. Law
and Order,
CI,
The First
and
Men in
Full
Black,
Metal
and Adventures in Babysitting. He was Thor.
And he's Kingpin in Daredevil.
Yeah, Kingpin. Yeah.
Really phenomenal.
And you know, his thing was almost like, I want to say that it's almost like Black Panther, right? You get Claw, who is playing sort of the really bad guy, you know, but you know that doesn't really matter. You know, he's going to be a bad guy. He's going to be defeated.
Injun has to be represented in there
You know what I
somewhere,
mean?
right? Injun needed to be there.
You know, but then you get Bryce Dallas Howard, who's kind of the deeper bad guy, you know, somebody who doesn't understand what these animals mean and is really a part of the system and has a lot of say. You know, Vincent D'Onofrio's character is kind of a side guy. He just gets power towards the end, you know, to change Bryce Dallas Howard's understanding. And she doesn't even change her understanding of the dinosaurs. She kind of, I mean, she cares about whether her nephews are dead or not, but she doesn't express, you know, besides looking at the brontosaurus die and shedding a tear, she doesn't really show that she understands the animals. Except for in the end, you know, she does get the T-Rex. But that's just because she needed another monster to fight the monster. I mean, like, you don't really see a lot of growth in that. You know what I mean? And she's half the main cast. So.
But we are looking forward to the new movie because there's always room for growth.
Yep.
And there's always room to see where it's going, especially because the director, Colin Trevorrow is a writer on the next movie.
Yeah.
So it's going to be nice to see how he took the direction that he used in this movie and apply it to the next one.
Yeah. You know, I mean, we only hope for the best. We only want good movies. I mean, we want to buy the T-shirt. We want to do the review. We want to have wonderful things to say. But
it's in the end, it's a fun movie. It's entertaining.
Movie. Yeah.
It gives you plenty of action, beautiful, wonderful things to see. It can make you feel like, hey, the kids are riding the dinosaurs. I really don't like that. I feel like that's really disrespectful.
Because they were babies. If they were adults,
they were
it would have been
babies.
cool, but they're kind of riding babies. It's kind of weird.
And then
they kind of have the babies be eaten by pteranodons.
It's just rough.
Yeah.
There's just certain parts
We're not even talking about the nanny who totally gets eaten
Oh
up
my
for
god,
no reason.
we had this huge discussion. We'll end this with this.
Yeah.
Of how good or worthy of a death she had because of her character, and Anthony was like, that was way too gruesome, and like her death was like way too emphasized. And I said, I think her death was perfect because she was neglectful, she wasn't there for them, and on top of that, like, there were no other characters that were close to the kids. So if you didn't put a focus on her death, then there would be nobody else to be focused to affect them that much in that mass crowd panic moment.
Sure, but the two other sort of bad guys are Bryce Dallas Howard's character, Vincent D'Onofrio, and yeah, he gets eaten by Raptor, but that's, you know, I mean, it's PG-13, so they have to have it off screen, and Bryce Dallas Howard does not die in any way. she just maybe has a lot of regret because she got a lot of people killed. But those two people are the reason for so much death. This nanny was literally ditched by the kids. The kids ditched her. Like, why? Why tear down women like that? We just talked before the recording started. Apparently, the kiss that Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt have, they didn't tell her they were going to do it. They just did it. I don't know if they said like, hey, we're going to try something, just go with it, or what, but it was a surprise. They did not tell her that she was going to get a kiss in that, and they used the one take where she was surprised, and it's like, you know, you're making those type of choices.
Yeah, that lacked consideration, and
like
it was unprofessional to do that to her.
But you know what?
What are you gonna do?
You have another chance.
Let's
hopefully do better. We want it to do better. Did you love it? Are we completely wrong?
A lot of people do. I mean, I still like
know.
it. I still really enjoy it. I think it's a fun movie. Is it something that makes me go, oh, this is the best movie in the world? No, but it's nice to add to the Jurassic package. And here comes number 5.
Yep.
So
be sure to like and subscribe. We're going to eat more of this sandwich that we couldn't eat while we were talking because it did not work out. But it is really good, and we are going to put the recipe in there. Just don't eat it while you're recording yourself.
Just get a softer bread.
Just softer bread. Don't eat it while you're recording yourself. These are all options for eating this delicious banh mi.
Thank you, honey.
It's really good pizza.
Okay.
Catch y'all later.
Signing off. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.